This morning I wanted to tell you about my approach to writing, especially when it comes to an emotional passage like a funeral and such. And it was just this morning I remembered an incident that happened many years ago. I was waiting for my evening flight to Nairobi in Kenya. So I went in London. So I went to the cinema, just to pass the time. And there was a very, very good film on with Joanne Woodward, and it was excellent until there was a scene which was, there was a plane accident, and my God, the mayhem! Everyone was screaming and roaring, and anyway, I left the cinema, not because I was afraid, because of my impending flight to Kenya. But because something like that happened to me just about a year before. I was on a flight from Cairo to London in a Boeing with some friends. And the plane was travelling about 30,000 feet and everything was going very smoothly until we passed somewhere near the Alps. And the plane hit an air pocket and dropped 10,000 feet. It went this way, all the way down. And the thing was, there was utter silence in the plane. Nobody was screaming, nobody was roaring. We were in a state, I imagine, of bewilderment. What was happening? But it was the silence. And then one man, excuse me, some teeth in my eye. Then one man actually went up to the galley and he came out with 2 bottles of brandy, which he passed over to each aisle. And we all took a sip. We didn't bother with cups or anything like that. But again, the silence, we all sipped our brandy and passed it to our neighbour. And we were told that the plane was possibly going to land in Paris, but it doesn't really matter. We went on to London and there was an emergency landing. We were told to pull the blinds down. Actually, there was a man killed on that plane. Only discovered that later in the newspapers. And the plane landed. Again, utter silence. There was no wailing, and pulled up the blinds, and the plane was surrounded by ambulances, and we all felt awake quietly. And this was the whole thing. I did look back, and it seemed to seem a lot of chaos. My head had actually gone up, and I think cracked the overhead part. But I think it's in writing, but for me anyway, I'm not going to be giving instructions to other writers, is to write about like something you've experienced or somebody who has experienced something. So I was told by somebody about an Irish writer who had written about a bereavement, and my friend told me, and she's a very renowned writer, Irish writer, and my friend said, well, she's obviously never gone through that experience. So, as I say, for me, I'm not saying everyone should do it, but for me, my writing is what has been experienced. I don't imagine what happened. I do, if I'm going to use my imagination, I use it for my children's work. I mean, can you imagine me saying I can talk to furniture? They can talk back to me. Then there'll be a little men coming in white coats and taking me away. Well, maybe that might happen in the future. Okay, that's my thought for today. Bye-bye.